Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video, and today I'm very excited to say we're joined by the WiiM amp streamer. WiiM, a brand that I'll be honest with you, 18 months ago wasn't too familiar with, and I think it's a nice change of pace after the last few weeks we've been looking at some of the more real high-end stuff. This coming in at £319 is something that's been super popular over the last 12 to 18 months, and today we're going to take a look at why this very little box is making big waves in the hi-fi market. Before we get properly stuck into the WiiM amp streamer, I do want to say again, thank you for all the feedback on the recent videos, getting lots of comments, lots of feedback, which I always appreciate. Obviously, still kind of looking to tailor the channel a little bit, so any feedback, good, bad, whatever it might be, put it in that comment section down below. I have had a lot of people saying that they wanted to see a bit more spec kind of reviews rather than what I believe is a more off-the-cuff real review. So I personally prefer the more off-the-cuff stuff that gives a bit more of a real view of a product, so I'm going to continue to do that. But what I am going to do is start putting some of the specifications of the products in the description down below, and I might even annotate some on the screen as well, so you'll be able to get a bit more detail on that side of things. But again, really appreciate the feedback, so please do continue to leave that in the comment section down below. Leave a thumbs up if you do enjoy this one, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. And yeah, let's get stuck into the WiiM and exactly what it's all about. So as I say, this over the last 18 months has been an incredibly popular product. There's a couple of different variations of the WiiM amp streamer. This is the kind of all-in-one, if you want to class it as that. As I say, this is an amplifier and a streamer all in one box. They also do just a standalone streamer, and they also do a mini streamer as well, which is almost like a little Alexa style puck. And the design of the products themselves, you've got to say, is fantastic. It's almost a bit like if Project and Apple had a baby. You've got kind of the similar color designs to the Apple products with the space gray version of the amp streamer that we've got here. But I don't know if any of you guys have ever used any Project equipment over the years, but they tend to be really small, compact boxes where they're quite simplistic on the outside, and their big ethos is that a lot of the money, rather than going on the outside looking super flashy, is that it goes on the inside of the box and provides real good bang for your buck. And that's exactly what the WiiM does as well, I think. To give you a bit of a guide of the size, I'll put some of this on in the description or annotate it on the screen as well, but it's kind of a bit like, I don't know if any of you guys have ever had an Apple TV box. It's a bit like, I'd say maybe two of those put together. It's not a big box at all. I mean, if I pick it up here, you can see they're not heavy, a bit of a weight to them, but a really simplistic design. You've simply got your volume dial on the front, nothing else that you can interface with here, and then obviously just the inputs on the back, which we'll come onto those a bit later in the video, but really small, compact box. And again, I think one thing that has made this so popular is just the sheer amount of connectivity that you get in such a simple, small package, really. So touching a bit more on the physical connections on the back of the unit, as I say, for a small unit, it provides a lot of options. You've got the HDMI ARC, which is always fantastic, because that allows you to obviously connect up your television if that's something that you wanted to do. You've also got a LAN connection where you can connect your Ethernet cable and play over the network if that's what you wanted to do, which is actually how we listen to the unit. You've also got a USB connection, you've got an optical connection, just the one set of analog inputs. So perhaps you could say it's a bit lacking there with just the one set, but again, I still don't think that's too bad, especially considering the footprint of the unit. Impressively, you've also got a sub out, which is something that I don't think a lot of people would expect, and the speaker terminals as well. So obviously, when you're hooking your speakers up to the system, you'll be using those. On top of all the physical connections, the big thing with the WiiM, the big selling point in my opinion, is the amount of wireless connectivity options you've got here. The third-party support is off the charts, from the likes of simple things like Bluetooth 5.0, AirPlay 2, Spotify Connect, Tidal, Chromecast. It also has a remote which has got voice control on there, which allows you to use Amazon Alexa support, Google Assistant support. It really, I mean, I could cover the screen now, I'm pretty sure, with the amount of wireless connectivity options. It really is a huge plus and a big reason why this is such a popular unit, because I think no matter what your preferred wireless streaming option is, what your service is, this is almost certainly going to support it. So alongside all this third-party support, what you have got backing up the WiiM here is a fantastic app called the WiiM Home app. And when we did the Eversolo review a couple of weeks ago now, I was raving about the Eversolo Connect app and how it made using the system not just really easy and intuitive, but really quite fun as well. And the WiiM Home app is actually very, very similar in that regard. It's going to give you access to all of the third-party apps that we were just talking about, so you can go into your WiiM Home app, really easy to connect to your unit, and then when you're in there, not only can you access things like Spotify, Tidal, all that kind of stuff, you've also got a really nice EQ built into it as well. That's going to help you fine-tune the sound that you're trying to get from the unit. And as I say, it just makes the whole experience so much more intuitive and so much more enjoyable when you've got a good app backing it up. So huge kudos for WiiM for doing that as well. Fantastic addition, and again, really does help bring the system to life. I think when you're looking at the sound of the WiiM, it's always very, very difficult when with products like this, when you've got the EQ built in, because you can kind of tailor the sound to a certain level. It's hard to, it's not like a one-lane product. It's not always going to sound the same. You can kind of tune it to whatever speakers you're listening to, whatever genre you're listening to. So it's not like as simple as having just one set sound. But if we look at it as it comes out of the box in its default settings, I found it to be really engaging, to be honest with you. I mean, it's quite a dynamic, bright sound. Not so bright as to the point where I found it fatiguing, because I think that can be an issue with something super bright sounding for me personally. It can be a bit fatiguing, but I didn't find that to be the case with the WiiM. I listened to it alongside the Wharfedale Linton speakers, which I think can help on that front, because they're I mean, as most Wharfedale speakers tend to be, quite a warm, traditional, old school speaker, and combined with the brightness of the WiiM, if you like, it kind of rounded that sound off, and it was a really good partnership, to be fair. But I think one thing to bear in mind again is, even if you did find this too bright, which I can't imagine many circumstances where that would be the case, but for example, when I think of a bright speaker, I think of the likes of Dali. You know, if you had this with the Dali, maybe then it could be a little bit bright and fatiguing. For me, I don't think it would be the case, but for some others it might be. Again, you've got the EQ there where you can tailor that, perhaps take the edge off, and that's the great thing about having that built into the unit. You really can fine-tune the sound for exactly what you're trying to achieve. I think when it comes to the downsides of the WiiM App Streamer, it's almost a victim of its own success in terms of, because it is so small and it's got so much packed in, it would be nice if there was just a couple of other options on there. I think the big two standouts to me are the fact that it doesn't have a headphone jack on the front. Could that have been done? Potentially. And also the fact that there's only the one analog input on the back as well. It would be nice to have had maybe one more on there for a bit more flexibility for people in their systems. One thing I will say is that it's a very sleek and simple design. We don't have a screen on the front, but there is an Ultra version which is very recently launched, which we're hoping to get our hands on in the coming weeks to review as well. So that is something that's been, you know, I don't want to use the word fixed, but something that's been added onto the latest unit, a screen on the front, because who's not a fan of having the album art showing on the front when you're playing your music? So there are a couple of things that could be added, but on the whole, again, for the size of the thing and at the £319 price point, it doesn't half offer a lot for what you're paying for. It's got incredible bang for your buck potential. I think to summarise, this is a really great modern option that's going to tick a lot of boxes for a lot of people out there. It kind of balances the audio quality and flexibility really nicely, whilst also offering a lot of the lifestyle and home options that people utilise every day as well. And I think the design of it, again, really kind of complements that. As I've mentioned, it's kind of like an Apple-esque kind of design, and you can see exactly why it's been so popular. Again, at £319 they're retailing for roughly at the moment. It offers so much and kind of ticks a lot of boxes. We've reached the point in the video now where I always ask this. I'd love to hear if you have got your hands on the WiiM Amp Streamer or any of the other WiiM variants as well. I mean, as I say, it's not very often that you find something that comes into the hi-fi world as a new brand and takes over to the same level as WiiM has done over the last couple of years. But yeah, let me know your experiences in the comment section down below. I can tell you that next week we're going to be looking at some Bowers and Wilkins speakers. We're going to do a bit of a comparison within their range, so make sure to tune in next Sunday for that one. And again, any feedback, leave it in the comment section down below. Thank you again for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you all next week.